Dan Dickau, Gonzaga Nation SI, the Gonzaga Nation Media Network. Well, it took me a day or so to recap the UConn game. Listening to this, probably a big Gonzaga fan. You've read a lot of the articles, you've watched the highlights, you may have gone back and rewatched the game. All in all, it was a disappointing loss for Gonzaga. It doesn't take anything away from the season, in the fact that I think this team did end up overachieving based on how the parts were put together and based on where they were looking in mid-December. But one of the best coaching jobs I can think of for Coach Few. He did a tremendous job getting these guys to continue to believe, continue to improve. They were on the doorstep of a Final Four. They were only down 4 points with less than 30 seconds left in that first half. I thought the big play that 100% swung the momentum in the direction of UConn was kind of a broken play towards the end of that first half. Andre Jackson, with his IQ, flashed, got the loose ball, quickly kicked it to a shooter. I believe it was Jordan Hawkins in the corner for three, knocks it down as the first half starts to wind to a close. So now Gonzaga's down 7 going into halftime as opposed to 4. That was a big momentum shift. Obviously, people are going to talk about that fourth foul call on Drew Timme. To me, that was a no call. Officials should be taught. They are at the NBA level. In college, they say they are, but it doesn't always happen this way. Advantage, disadvantage. Yes, there was contact. Yes, that's a foul if the ball is in the vicinity of that action to allow one person or the other to get the ball or not get the ball with possession. That had no impact on if Timme or the player he got caught up with, I believe it was Andre Jackson, were going to get that ball. The ball was completely different. They were tangling in a blockout scenario anyways. And so with advantage, disadvantage, there's no reason that foul should have been called. But that being said, fourth foul, had to go to the bench for quite some time. But that wasn't the reason Gonzaga lost to UConn. They lost to UConn because UConn was pretty dang good, absolutely impressive in the 82-54 win. A couple bright spots, though, for Gonzaga. I thought defensively, it looked like UConn had their way. Obviously, Jordan Hawkins had a good game. Sanogo, Andre Jackson were really good. Donovan Clingan really impressed me. I saw him in person on the Thursday night game, but I thought his length, his ability to impact the game on both ends of the floor was good. I mean, you're talking about a 7'2" freshman in the Big East. Gonzaga didn't have the size to match up with them. You could say what you want. Hey, maybe Efton Reed should have got a chance in that game earlier, but he hasn't been part of the rotation throughout much of the season, so that would have been hard. But Gonzaga did a decent job defensively, considering, they held UConn to 42% field goal shooting. And that's something that was going to be a major concern for Gonzaga the further they went in the tournament. Could they stop anybody? Could they slow them down? Well, they made things difficult at times. At other times, guys had their way. But 42% field goal percentage defense, I thought was a number that would have given them a chance to win the game. So if you would have told me, hey, they're going to hold them to 42% from the field, they're only going to turn the ball over 9 times, I would have thought we would have had a close game. But Gonzaga was -8 on the glass. As mentioned, they only turned it over 9 times. Sanogo, Hawkins, Andre Jackson Jr., Clingan, they were all really good. Joey Calcaterra, the USD transfer, he was tremendous. It's a guy that just fits a role. And so many times you don't have to be the best player. You don't have to be the greatest athlete. You just have to fit a role and you have to excel in your role. And I think Calcaterra is a great example of that. But when you look at Gonzaga, they didn't shoot the ball well at all. 33% from the field, 2 of 20 from beyond the 3-point line. Defensively, we can talk again about 42% field goal percentage defense, but when you shoot 33%, you're not really doing yourself any favors. The backcourt of Hickman, Smith, Salas, and Bolton weren't able to get anything going. I mean, Hickman was 0 of 5, Smith 2 of 4, Salas 2 of 5, and Bolton 2 of 7. They weren't really able to handle the physicality of the Big East guards and create opportunities for themselves or for others. So that was a little bit of a frustration point, I'm sure, for Gonzaga. But Drew Timme ended with 12 points, 5 of 14 from the field, 10 rebounds for another double-double. Moved into the 10th place, I believe it is, 9th or 10th all-time NCAA tournament scoring list. Pretty impressive for that. Again, that fourth foul early in that second half, kind of, people wanted to pick and choose and point to that. And I did at that moment in time. I put a tweet out about advantage, disadvantage. It was a bad call, and it was, but that didn't impact the game. It just should not have been a fourth foul call. Julian Strawther had an okay game as far as at least scoring it. He had 11 points. He was the only other Gonzaga player in double figures, but he struggled from the field as well at 4 of 15 from the field. That shows, that big physical presence can bother him at times. Wasn't able to get all the way to the rim against those bigger, longer athletic defenders on the wing for UConn. So there you have it. Gonzaga finishes the season in the Elite Eight for the 5th time in school history. 8 consecutive Sweet 16s, knocked on the door of another Final Four, just weren't quite able to get it done. In the coming weeks, I will sit back and I will have a couple episodes where we reflect on the season, the highs, the lows, the positives, where they can build upon with opportunities for the program, where players can improve and build upon opportunities for themselves. We'll take a look at what the prospects for Drew Timme is to get drafted, what the prospects are for Julian Strawther to go to the NBA, or will he stay at Gonzaga? All interesting things to keep an eye out for. So for Gonzaga Nation SI, don't forget to stay tuned to all that we've got coming up in the offseason.